All right, I like the directions for 11.4. Look at the nice and short. Post the October 31st column totals of sales journal, purchases journal, cash receipts journal, and cash payments journals. So basically what we're looking at in 11.4 is posting totals. 11.1, we learned about posting to accounts payable. 11.2 was posting to accounts receivable. 11.3 was posting to our general ledger, and now 11.4 is taking a look at what do we do for totals. You will always post totals at the end of the month. The numbers we have at the end of the month are very important. Now think about it. Our sales journal tells us all of the customers that bought on account for us. Do you think there are times for each business where some months are busier than others? Right? So what we would do is we would use that information from the totals of our sales journal to do some forecasting. And forecasting means looking ahead to anticipate what our needs are going to be. Do I have enough product on hand? So it's getting kind of nice out right now. Would you agree? Springtime? Yeah. People like to buy spring sports items, like golf. Right now is going to be a big time for people to buy golf products because in Wisconsin because it's going to be that season. Do they sell much golf products in November? Maybe Christmas presents, but not nearly as much now. So we have to gear up to make sure we have those products on hand. The other thing it does is it kind of tells us the amount of employees we need to have on hand to cover items. So the journals, totals, we are going to post, but we also take a look at those numbers for us to anticipate what the business is going to do or what they would need. So the first year your business in operation, you kind of are guessing on that, but after you've been in operation for a year or longer, this data helps you to drive decision making. So I want you to think about accounting from that perspective, not just putting our numbers in there, but we make decisions based on these numbers. So we can see what we've done in the past, we can determine what we think will happen in the future, hopefully also with some growth, meaning the business is going to be getting bigger, you're going to have more customers. When we post our totals, the order of posting your totals is extremely, extremely important. Okay? If you post your totals or post your journals out of order, Applia will be really ticked off at you and everything will be wrong. You can have the right number at the end, but if you don't have them posted in the right order, Applia is going to be like, no, it's not right. Because in Applia's world, this line is only this line and it can't be above or below. So it's very much black and white. The other reason why we need to make sure that we post our journal in the correct order is I can't post my cash receipts before I do my sales journal. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to have customers paying me before I recorded the fact that they owe me. Okay? Same thing for you have to post your purchases journal before your cash payments because otherwise I'd be paying people before I actually have it in the books that I owed them anything. So please remember the order of journals will matter. So when we see the directions here, we're going to do sales, purchases, cash receipts, and cash payments. And we're going to go through and post those totals. Now, let's take a look at sales. Sales is pretty straightforward, like a good old sales journal. Please notice that your journals in Applia are not necessarily in the order that you need to post them, so they will be a little tricky that way. So I'm posting totals. Posting totals is very much what we did yesterday for 11.3. We take our numbers and we move them from our journal into our general ledger. All totals will go in your general ledger. None of your totals will go in a subsidiary ledger. okay, or those accounts receivable or accounts payable accounts. So I am always going to post from left to right, so I'm going to find first accounts receivable. Totals always go on the last day of the month, and this is October. So I'm going to put the 31st on here. Post reference is going to be S10, S standing for sales journal, 10 standing for page 10 of the sales journal. And accounts receivable is being debited $7,377.60. It already has a debit balance of $1,284.73. So I'm just going to add those two together. I got $8,662.33. Does anyone agree? Nobody agrees? How are you doing, Olivia? Do you agree with me? You think so? All right. Now, I need to, my last step when I post is always to take my account number, 1130, and put it back up here. But here's the thing. When we post totals, the account number needs to go in parentheses. Does anyone remember why? I did tell you before when we posted totals, a couple chapters ago. If I were to put 1130 here, it would look like $1,130. Would you agree? So we have to put our account numbers below in parentheses so it doesn't look like money. We put them in parentheses to be like, oh yeah, I put this amount that's above it into that account 1130. Okay, so remember to put them in parentheses. I'm going to do the same thing for sales. Date is the 31st. Post reference is S10. It's going to go a credit for $6,960. Previously had a balance in there as a credit, so I'm just going to add those two numbers together. I'm not doing a lot of explaining on what we're doing here because I kind of explained it all yesterday on reminding on posting. I'm expecting you to remember and just know if it has a credit balance and I'm crediting it, I'm going to add it together. If it has a debit balance and I'm crediting, I'm going to subtract. The main thing is you always put it into your ledger, and your last step is always to put your account title, or excuse me, account number back up where you got the number from. So direction 1 was to post your sales journal. Direction 2 is to post your purchases journal. Now, this tends to be the most confusing step for 11.4, is posting your purchases journal. Purchases journal was our first special journal that we learned about. And most students tend to like the purchases journal the most because there's only one column for numbers. But that's where it comes back to kick us a little bit when we go to post. Because when I look at my purchases journal, I look and I see, oh, I have to put $11,818.40 in one account. But I don't. I have to put it in two accounts. What are my two accounts I have to put it in? Purchases as a debit and accounts payable as a credit. So what's going to happen is I have to put both account numbers in here with a slash, just kind of like we did in our general journal, to indicate that I posted them both. Because this column here is affecting both purchases as a debit. The abbreviation for debit is DR because it's some Latin phrase instead of DB. and then accounts payable as a credit. So I need to remember this one goes in 2 spots. Because the whole accounting concepts, we have to remember that our debits and credits equal. Instead of us having 2 columns with the same number repeated twice, we just put it once and just post the total twice. And I'm going to post purchases first. And the reason I do purchases first is because that's the first account title that's listed there. Purchases is a cost account and has a debit normal balance, meaning it takes away from the value of my net income. My post reference is P10, standing for Purchases Journal, page 10. It's being debited for $11,000, even though I just typed the wrong number. $11,818.40. There was already a debit balance in there, so I have to add the 2 together. Now, this is where Aplia is a little stupid, because it will not let me post my account number for purchases without also posting the one for accounts payable. So I'm just going to be like, okay, yes, that is the right one, even though I know I haven't posted it yet to accounts payable. Does that make sense? So I know I need to now go right to accounts payable. I totally have the wrong number in there, don't I? I just saw a really confused look on Clayton's face, and I looked again. I'm like, that is not the right number. My calculator is giving me fits 106. So I got both of my numbers posted from my purchases journal. So now I'm going to switch to my cash receipts journal. Now, cash receipts journal. We don't have a number in my general debit and credit. But typically what we would do, Aplia doesn't allow us to do this, but I would put a check mark underneath them in a parentheses, because if I put nothing there, it looks like I just forgot about it. But this Aplia will not let me do that. So, but otherwise I would do parenthesis, check mark, or in Aplia land I would use the letter V to indicate a check mark on those to say, I know I don't post them as a total, but I don't want to make it look like I'm leaving it blank. We don't post these as totals because they are automatically posted individually, and we don't have an account called general debit or general credit. But when I look at the rest of my columns on my cash receipts journal, do I have an account called accounts receivable? Yes. So this has to go to my accounts receivable as a credit. Same thing here. I have an account called sales, sales tax payable, sales discount, and cash. So you want to post these from left to right. Okay? And we always post our cash receipts journal before our cash payments journal, because otherwise it could make it look like that our amount of cash that we have is going to be the negative when it won't be. If we post cash payments first before we post our cash receipts journal. Source document for post reference is going to be CP cash payments 12, meaning cash payments CR 12. When I'm done teaching, I will. Sound good? I know I've been quiet for a while, but I'm just posting. So I went through and posted all of your cash receipts journal. How'd that go for you guys? Once you start posting, they all kind of just go together. So I'm going to do my cash payments journal next. Look, the cash payments journals has an amount under general debit and credit. So what do we do there? Check marks in parentheses. Because I do not post those as a total. I only do the general debit and credit columns individually. Then I'm going to go to accounts payable, post that one. The biggest thing that I have to say when we're going through and posting, how you post is important. Never ever go through and fill in all of the post reference numbers. You always go from your journal to your ledger back to your journal. Journal, ledger, journal. That is why we do it, to make sure we get information in the correct area. Do not worry about doing it on your own. Go ahead and just finish up the work together. Because there was enough posting, I feel, from the work together that you should be able to get it from there. Would you agree? And this one is not really graded. I don't remember why I haven't said it's graded. So don't worry, it's not going to be a graded assignment. It's not going in, so it's not going to come against you. How are we feeling on posting those totals? Pretty good? So, it took us a little bit of time to get through this work together aspect of it. So I will go in and then turn on your application assignment so you can work on that. Please do not forget to start working on your outline. This is a longer chapter.